when we talk about toxic masculinity, we're usually talking about men who don't like women. Again, that's not masculinity. Men love women. Hurt men, usually in their more effeminate energy, dislike women. Some of them hate women. And you can hear it in the vitriol that they spout every time. That's not masculinity. There are different attributes to a man, but what it isn't is masculine. You'll have men who are boastful. You have an accolade, you exhale. Some men do it more than others. I'm not going to say that is masculine or it's not, but what it isn't is toxic. A man celebrating his accomplishments isn't toxic masculinity. So this nonsense where they say a man likes pretty women and fast cars, this is all nonsense. There is a definite attack by social scientists who are very well funded by economic speculators to reduce who men are. So when it comes to certain of our values and principles, when they introduce something brand new to Western society in saying this is to be celebrated, I'm not obligated to agree. Now, I don't have to pretend because I can solve every single one of my own problems. However, when we can't, what we do is we start to reduce ourselves down, we start to quieten our beak, and we start to become self-regulating. Now, the more self-regulating we become, the more of our inalienable rights, like freedom of speech, will be impeded on. Do we actually understand this is happening at exactly the same time that masculinity is under attack by economic speculators? When you look at the UN, when you look at your BlackRocks, your Vanguards, when you look at your George Soroses and your Bill Gates, very well-funded agendas to reduce who we are. Our role as men is to serve our own interests. Our role as men is to uphold, promote, and preserve our values. Our role as men is to amplify our voices with as many of those of a similar ilk that we can identify. This is the whole point of SigmaCarta. And then our role is to understand what is happening, agree amongst ourselves, adopt our protocols, and then apply them. Understand, agree, adopt, apply. Very simple principles. Because when we like to say these things like deep, nothing is really that deep. Nature is simple. Nature is effective. So what we do is we now go into our nature as masculine men, not toxic men. We don't have any room for that. That's not Sigma. We're Sigmas. We live outside of the hierarchy of society because we are disciplined, because we have routines, because we can rely on ourselves. Now we come to rely on each other because it's required at this stage of history. This is what SigmaCarta is. The SigmaCarta YouTube channel is filled with content, but the difference between that and our premium Patreon platform is Patreon actually gives us the application of all the lessons we're learning on YouTube. SigmaCarta community is designed for our personal, spiritual, and entrepreneurial development. There's no way we can just hear information once and get it. So what we've done is we've broken it down into sections, lesson plans, seminars, and courses so that we can actually adopt into our lives what we didn't with 48 Laws of Power, even though we know all of the lines that sound impressive to our friends and we're still in exactly the same psychological place as when we first picked it up. Collaboration of state, corporation, and media. So the state, corporation, and media have completely colluded at the level of the World Economic Forum to deliver their new set of values. But you see that new set of values and beliefs, as you're going through cognitive dissonance, as you're fighting this, and there's a spiritual shift, two things are happening. Being completely distracted from the spiritual shift that we're supposed to lean into. And what we're actually doing is we're fighting, debating, and discussing our traditional beliefs as opposed to these new set of values and beliefs that we're being given. And within